Welcome everyone. I think we've got a very strong panel here. We have Paroma Rai Chaudhary from Ashoka University. I have Swati from Remedio and Niharika from Livewire Reels. The topic of this session, which is a very interesting session for this panel, is the journey to perfection. Your life stories on success and failure. And I would like to go across the panel and just want to understand how has your journey been? Over the years, you are the ones who've, made way for this PR industry, if I say so. And how do you think it's evolving over time? From the internet issues that we had and to the AI doing a lot of stuff, but your journey and some learnings for the audience. Yeah, please.
Hi, everyone. Very grateful that you all have gathered here in the middle of a workday afternoon to listen to some people like us. So very grateful to e4m, Karan, Siddharth for being the moderator and my co-panelists. All I would say is that there's nothing called perfection. Don't even strive for it. You do the best as you can and then hope for the best. I'm not very outcome driven from long experience. If it comes to my own life, it's very serendipitous. I have been a journalist, worked in financial services, tech, telecom, private equity, startup ecosystem, and now education. That's very diverse. Whenever I have joined any industry, I knew nothing about it. When I became a journalist, a business journalist, I couldn't even read a balance sheet. And when I worked in private equity, I didn't know how to write a deal document. But the thing is, you have to be open to learning new things, doing different things, and very important, take risks and get out of comfort zones. I don't think you can guarantee growth otherwise. So this has been my watchword. And have I been successful always? No. Sometimes, yes. Some highs, some lows, some bends, some bumps, some stretches of glorious run. So careers are like marathons. They are not sprints. So if you look at it from a 20, 25-year stint or a 30-year stint, obviously there would be some bad patches, some good ones, and some really high points. So live for the high points, work through the low points, and you'll be just fine. Thank you.
Okay, hi. Thanks, Karan, for having me here, because I think if I start talking about my life story, it's going to be very weird for all of you. Because as I was telling just, half an hour before, I started my career as a journalist. I was a mass comm student, and I was the launching team of India TV as a trainee. And with that career, I even had this brilliant chance of being, the TV presenter, an anchor. From there, my journey started to corporate communication, to advertising, and now currently I have my own company which is into events and actually doing an upliftment of Indian art and culture, because apart from all this, in my journey, I was always a classical dancer, which I started from the age of 4 and devoted half of my life into promoting art and culture, which I'm doing. So as I said, my journey is so different, and I truly agree with Romaji that failure and success, in my vision, how I learned from my father was, not trying is failure. Giving up is failure. But trying to do something in your life and not able to make it is not failure. It's like you have a vision, you have a dream, you don't do it. Why? Because you're scared. Why? Because people around you tell you, you're a woman, you can't do it, because it needs a lot of guts. Believing them is failure. So as I said, my journey has been a news anchor, a journalist, a corporate communication. I've worked with many corporate people, launched their campaigns, and today, for last 3 years, I'm doing my own things, believing in myself, created my own empire, which is very small, not yet very big. But every day I tell myself, follow your dream, follow your vision. So anybody who's there has a dream and vision to do something, keep going. Don't be scared of, you're not made it. Who knows, you will make it one day. But just do not ever doubt your vision. And that's the success, that's the key of growing.
So if I talk about my life, I don't even know how I got into comms. It was an accident because I did not know what communications or PR was all about. So it happened like just by chance. And I think from that day, 30 years now, I've been moving from one industry to the other, one company to the other, just in the hope that I will learn something new, in the hope that I get to do something different, because I've worked with, again, technology, auto, I've worked with, manufacturing and all kinds of organizations, and now I'm working with a startup, and I've got into marketing, ophthalmologic medical devices, which I have no clue about even now. So that's been my journey. I think I wake up every morning to see what I can learn, and yeah, like Paroma said, doesn't mean that it'll work out. I think long ago a mentor of mine had said, if it works out, it works out. If you gain something, then you gain something out. If you don't, then you gain experience. And that's, I think, words to live by, because you will not succeed all the time, but you will gain experience, you will learn new things, and that's what makes life interesting, I think. So that's really been my journey as well.
Thank you, everyone. I think some great points from our panelists to, actually take back from this. Get out of your comfort zone, keep trying, have a long-term vision, and life is a marathon, is not a sprint. But then comes a question about how do you balance your ambition with your personal life. We've been at the industry for about 30 years plus. There must be challenges at personal levels. How do you balance that? Is there any advice where we've balanced your personal life with professional life and have come out of it?
I'll be a little counterintuitive to this. Of course, I mean, when we were younger, when we were starting out, at least Swati and I, you are probably younger. I mean, there was no concept of anything really. I mean, child care at work and, extended maternity leave, benefits like that. I remember I was a journalist, and I joined back when my son was 6 weeks old. And I would go, fortunately I lived close to the office, so I would go, come back home, feed him, go again, come back. It was really terrible, And on some days when the nanny wouldn't be there, my husband would work from home, he worked for a multinational, much more flexible. So things are so much better now. Yeah. I must say that, policies, infrastructure, everything is so much better. So we should be grateful for that. We didn't have any of it. So, and I'm not going to badmouth anybody, but if I talk about some of my male bosses when I was in the media, one of them told me, you don't need a car, your husband works for a multinational. Hello, what has my career got to do with it? I'll give you some money. So, this kind of attitude we had to deal with. From there, we have come a very long way. And it's a collective effort. Also, women like us who refuse to give up. So, first and foremost is that, don't give up. There would be challenges. There would always be challenges, even now. And I'm not even talking about the home, mother-in-law, etc. brigade. You don't give up, you develop a very thick skin. My first advice, that just cut it off as noise. What is really important to you? Focus on that. And if that means that 2 years you want to experience motherhood, sure. Just take a break, do something part-time, etc. But be focused on what you want to do. And just be focused on that. I have always been very focused in my life, if that is of any use to anyone. The second thing I would say, really invest in good infrastructure at home, meaning paying your help well. If you have family close by, take advantage of that. Take advantage of whatever your organization might have to offer. I mean, there's no shame in it. I have a very high-powered friend who used to take her daughter everywhere till she was about 3. And she was so good that her organization started paying for the nanny to travel with her. So take advantage of that is on offer. But the most important thing here is that it is always a give and take. Be prepared to make the investments you want in your career. Your career is your responsibility. Your organization is not going to take care of you. They are not in that business. So please invest in your skills, in yourself, and sometimes your work is higher than your life. It's never a perfect balance. So you must be prepared to make that investment sometimes. Leave maybe a baby and go for that foreign trip, which is so important, or a conference, or a team, a project, whatever it might be. But you must be prepared to make some, I never use the word compromise or sacrifice, but because these are irrelevant terms, but invest and take the right decisions. So that's what I would say. If I've been, well, I have a 32-year-old son. He's married. And I've still been married for about 35 years, which is a huge achievement as far as I'm concerned. But, and I've been able to have a career. So, I think it comes from being focused, being driven, and having a really thick skin. I cannot underline more that importance. Sorry, I took up too much time.
So yes, like I agree. When we started our career, there was no such concept of, give them support. I mean, if you're having a baby and have a career at the same time, it's your problem. Nobody's going to, try to help you out because you have a little kid. So yes, thick skin is very important. Being focused is very important. But it's also very important to surround you with people who will support you. You have to have your family rally for you, your husband or can't say wife in this case, but yeah, your husband, your partner, whatever, has to be very, very supportive. Knock wood, I've had that kind of support. You have to have friends who will step in for you if you need them to. But I've left a 4-month-old son and traveled for months all over the world. It's just because I had that infrastructure. So you'll have to really invest in that network of people who support you. So that's very, very important. But yeah, you'll have to not give up, because there will be times when you feel like, to hell with it, I'm just going to sit home. And it's very important to make sure that you don't feel that way. And when you do, you pick yourself up and go to work, because there will be a day 20 years later, 30 years later, where it'll all be worth it. So yes, it's very important to do that. So yeah, that'll be my advice. Build your infrastructure, build your network of people around you, family and friends, and thick skin, like Paroma said, and be really focused on your career. And now you have so many more advantages which we'd never had. So you guys are lucky, actually.
I fully agree with both of you, because I think the toughest in my life was one such experience. I had a father who was on a dialysis for kidney. So for 7 years, thrice in a week, I had to go with him. And I had to balance that with my work. And if you ask me how, I think I was very lucky to have some of my clients whom I approached and said, listen, I will not be able to give you presentation. I will not be able to deliver you just within an hour. But I promise you, by tonight, you will have all the details. And there are times when I was in hospital, I used to come back and I used to work on the presentation. I used to work on my work. And by 2 in the night, I used to deliver. But that was the driven. That was my passion for my work. And it was not for, any kind of, validation from him, from people around me. I was not doing for anybody. I was doing for myself. Not for any award, not for any money, because I wanted to make sense. I wanted to do what I love doing. And that passion for work, that passion for my family, I knew I had to balance. And today, my father is gone. So, but I will not regret a single moment when I could not do something and was there holding his hand when he was there. Because I know if anybody who has given me this driven, that mind was my father. And yes, I fully agree to Swati. I have great friends, I have great family support. Wouldn't have been them supporting me. I don't think so. Today, Karan would have given me this chance to speak in front of you. Because this is all because of the people behind me. And whoever right now is going through any such phase in life, I will just say, your family is important, your work is important. Never feel guilty for, sometimes taking one ahead. Because the guilt is what kills you. The guilt is what pulls you down. And you shouldn't be. Because when you are part of a family, everybody has to contribute. You are not the only soldier in the family. Tell somebody, ask for help. There is no problem sometime asking for help. We cannot actually win any war without the soldiers.
If I may add, it's also important to look after yourselves though, which I don't think we did a lot of. Take time out for yourself, take time out to make sure that you're doing well and, your family will do well if you're doing well. So, what mental health has become so important. At our time, nobody even thought about these things. But now when I look back, I realize maybe I should have given myself a little more consideration, a little bit more time and, loved myself a little bit more. So it's important to do that because we don't think of that very often because, we are either completely spending our time in our careers or we go home and we're with our families, the children, etc. Take time out for yourself. Look after yourselves while you're doing that.
Yeah,
You'll burn out.
I agree to you, Swati, because, yeah.
one thing, Anita Radhik, who's the founder of Body Shop, who you probably know, used to say something very important. You cannot pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
Yes, very
If
true.
you are feeling de-energized, depleted, sad, broken, you can't take care of anyone, neither at home nor at work. And I think it's really important for your partner, if you have one, to be your champion.
Yeah.
Be each other's, you don't have to be married for it. But, my husband's a total champion, and I try to be for him.
Yes.
So, I think these two things, in earlier times, one would say marry well, but I don't think that's important. It's just that people close to you, like you were saying.
Yeah, I can say likewise, like mental health. That's what I think today, what I was telling you probably half an hour before, that I actually have been promoting in corporates that, into HR. Why don't you have this one workshop on art and culture, music, dance, where you can just, sing, dance, irrespective of your good or bad? Because I think dance and music is the best way to take out whatever you have in your heart. It could be your anger, it could be your depression, it could be, any anxiety. So I think this is one thing I would suggest anybody who's there from corporate or PR to go ahead. Art and culture, which we had a session before, is truly important. It's not about only, to save it. It's about to spread it. Like we had a coronavirus, why not spread the art and culture? Why not spread the dance and music? And if everybody is there who would say doesn't like music, I think would be denial.
No, it could be anything really. If you play a sport,
Yeah.
if you play a sport,
Follow the passion.
if
Follow the
music,
passion.
music, theater, literature, whatever works for you, you have to have a window.
Yes.
That's also a good way to recharge yourself. And then if you are not recharged, how will you give your best? Even at work and at home? I think Swati is very right. We have to be kinder to ourselves. Learn to be kinder to ourselves.
Self-nourishment, I would say.
I think what and I'm sure what you've heard today, you won't get that knowledge from a lot of people. So a mid-panel discussion, applause please for the panelists right now. Uh, uh, it's really nice to hear, what all three of you have spoken. And that gets me to a new question where, we see gender diversity as a woman issue. Don't you think it should be a collective movement if we talk about gender diversity, or it's only seen as a woman issue?
I think perspectives are shifting. It's no longer considered a women's issue. And diversity can also be race, caste, creed, color, anything. I mean, it's just that the gender issue, women's issues take a sort of precedence in this. And I also, again, have a counterintuitive view. Unless and until it is a collective goal, you'll never be successful. Because it's very easy to relegate it to one session in a conference, or a token item which you have to, a box you have to cross by it. If you really want women's representation in leadership, in attracting, fostering, retaining talent, it has to be part of your collective organizational goal. And I worked in GE. GE metricizes everything. They say if you can't measure it, don't do it. What doesn't get measured doesn't get done. So, I mean, I love that approach, that please, if you're doing a senior hiring, have a woman on the list always. And I'm so glad to see 3 women. All panels we have are manels, only men, right? So, having said that though, I mean, you see what Elon Musk and Trump are trying to do this to university, the diversity. So, and Google Web, I've worked for the longest time. I mean, diversity was like a religion then, but everybody's coming away from it for a variety of reasons, but without going into the political complexity of the whole thing, don't do diversity for the sake of it. It has to serve a purpose. It either has to get you better talent, or you're retaining better talent, taking care of your women's workforce so that your productivity is better, so on and so forth. I mean, you still have, I'm sorry now taking names, L&T CEOs of the world. I mean, the casual sexism of that comment truly stunned me. And when Mr. Narayan Murthy says 90-hour work weeks, or what, 70-hour work weeks, I'm sure he means people where all their wives are taking care of household and children, and the men are sitting with laptops working. I mean, that doesn't work. So that's why any diversity, gender diversity, has to be a core business issue. Otherwise, it will never work. So that's why I'm saying I'm counterintuitive.
So there are two extremes to it, right? I've seen organizations that are hiring women just to meet quota, right? So this percentage of women, and so that I also don't think works, because then they're trying to find, अच्छा HR में 2 ले लेते हैं और तो यहाँ sales में तो होगा नहीं. I've heard conversations, right? So that is no way of doing diversity. I mean, it's been proven, right? If you have women in your leadership, you are more innovative as an organization, you are more profitable, you have better employee retention. So it's proven. It's not like you're doing us a favor. But what has often happened, I've seen, is it's something that you're trying to meet numbers on, and you don't really actually believe in it. Even though there are a lot of people that will say that, oh yes, this is wonderful, but when you come to brass tacks, they're just trying to meet quota. So, with all these organizations now saying we're going to get out of DEI, in a way, if you don't believe in it, don't do it for the heck of it. You do it because you believe in it. Do it because you believe a woman in your boardroom will change the way you do business, will make you more profitable, will make you more innovative. So I believe in that very strongly, that it shouldn't be just out of, that we have to do this. It's not a compulsion because you're trying to meet numbers. And that, I think, goes against the grain of what diversity can achieve for your organization. Because then you're hiring numbers and not for talent. and hiring in departments where women can fit in easily, not in the more tough ones. So that is not, I think, how diversity works. And I hope, yeah, a lot has changed now, but I think we have to keep working on that to see that, you know, you're looking at women as core business decision makers who make a difference to your business, and not as a good to do thing.
I mean, even now, when I was sitting with a very senior business leader who's my friend, don't get me wrong, very nice person. He was talking about someone, a lady. He said, really good looking, yeah?
Yeah.
Really good looking. So, and you know, he's not non-diverse in any way. But he was just saying, good looking, yeah? I mean, you know, HR में fit हो सकती है. And then he's looking at me, he knows how I am. He said, with due respect, PR में fit हो सकती है, public policy में fit हो सकती है, FP&A तो नहीं करता.
See.
Fine, hardcore fine. So, this attitude, I think, still will take 20 years to go.
Oh yes,
I
definitely.
mean, and at least he's telling me because he thinks I'm sick. How many people think like this and cannot articulate? I mean, you're LLTC. So, you
It's
know,
hardwired.
No,
It's hardwired. It's very
And
difficult.
sorry, but it's still happening. It's still happening. Because I tell you, during, you know, when I was also appointed and I wanted a particular field, when I started as a journalist, I wanted a business correspondent. But then without naming the channel, they said, you're so good looking. Why do you want to go for a business correspondent? I think you will fit into culture. We will send you to all those page 3 parties. You know, you will get to attend those concerts, those fashion shows. I think you fit there. So my question is, I came with the same education. I came with the same Jamia mass communication degree, which any other person at that time was having, all those males and everybody. But that wasn't enough for them. That wasn't enough for them. I mean, why? The question was why. And it's still going on. Sorry to say, but it's still happening. And for me, I kept writing stories on political. I kept writing stories on something which I really wanted to write about. But I was always sent for those fashion shows. I was always sent for those, you know, get those bites from those film stars and everything. That was my life.
You know, I used to have a boss who would call me in the morning saying, "Aaj government meeting hai, sari pehen ke aana, biddi pehen ke aana."
Yeah. That is another
And I
very
wanted to ask
important
him, "Are you
line.
going to wear a
Please
kurta?"
look very nice.
But no.
that I figured out.
Yeah.
So when we were at Google and we were being called by the government every day, I just figured out if I wore a sari, I treated them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is deep sexism. If my white skin counterpart here, she would be in a trouser suit.
Yeah.
It would be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But why this expectation from an Indian woman
Yes.
that you have to be in Indian attire? But one good thing happened, Rajan, who was my CEO then, he came wearing chinos and a short, no jacket, in the External Affairs Ministry, and they stopped him.
Oh no.
I'm like, he's my boss. He's my manager. We say, acha, can't dikhaiye. So sometimes saris are also good. in the
Yeah,
sense
they're
that
always good,
give
always
you
good.
a passport,
But I'm just saying the
but
expectation.
The expectation and the attitude. Such stories will fill a book.
Yes.
So
You must write a book.
Yeah.
So excellent discussion on this panel, and you know, there are some misconceptions that should not be there in a workplace, in a society, but that's a reality that we live in, and something has to change. Any closing remarks? What you think the PR industry or the business industry should take note of and change for the betterment of the industry and society?
Okay, so I think I'll make a quick reference to GWPR. This is a Global Women in PR. We do a survey every year to look at the condition of women in PR, etc. And we found while there is a lot of women at entry levels, by the time they get into mid-management, at the senior level, it changes to all men. And there are various reasons, of course, women drop out for families, for children. There they face sexism at work. So there are various, we're going to come out with the report for this year. And I'm looking forward to it because every time you get very different insights. So I hope that that changes, that while there are so many women at entry level, I hope we can stay on till you reach, you know, CEO levels and CXO levels, because that's when we can really make, you know, long-lasting change in this industry. And normally PR and comms is supposed to be like an industry where there are a lot of women, but we have to learn to hold on and become senior leaders in this industry, and only then can that be, you know, like an industry where you can still continue to say that women are leading. Right now, we are there, but we're not leading. So, sorry.
I would only like to say, stop having this mindset of fixing women. We are kind, but we are as bad as any man here is. So stop having that mindset that you need to fix us. We know how to balance our emotion. We can be kind, but that doesn't mean we are not hard when it needs to be. So when you give us a leadership, believe in us. Just believe in us.
Also, remember that you're not there to win a popularity contest.
Yes.
So, ask questions, be difficult. In any case, if you are, you know, somebody who asks questions and protests and makes presence felt, you'll be labeled as difficult, bossy, argumentative, dominating. These are, for men, mostly assertive, responsible, you know, leadership material. I'm sorry to say, I mean, I've worked for 30 years now. It hasn't changed all that much. But, I mean, that's the sad part, that we are having to do this discussion, even today. Even today. Yeah, and you're a pushover. So, and so I'm just saying that let's care about the labels. If you are labeled difficult, you are difficult, so to speak. Everybody will not love you.
So if you're being told you're too difficult, it's good. That means you're doing something right.
The thing is that, unfortunately, the boardrooms are still made up of men. So don't give up. Please work hard, climb those ladders, however difficult it is. Whenever I'm an optimist, if there's more representation of women, issues will lessen.
Absolutely.
Issues will lessen.
I believe
I
men-
just stop with one anecdote. I have to say that because when I joined, I'm going to name now Airtel, on the executive floor, there was no women's loo. Okay, because Airtel board was 12 men with one Dutch lady who was a ombudsperson. So I was told, along with another woman who was joining, fortunately, that, you know, the ladies' loo is a floor down. So would you mind going there? I said, absolutely. Why can't we have a restroom here? So they had to break the part of the men's loo, which was huge at 5-star, to make a women's restroom. And I mean, I must credit myself in that.
Yay for you.
So this is, be at it. Be at it.
We're out of time, right?
Thank you so much. It was just great to hear all of you.
Thank you so much.